Starting off with the latest coming in regarding the India-China border tensions. After a tense border standoff between the two largest militaries in the world, Chinese troops have started to pull back at certain locations along the line of actual control. Now, WION will show you the images from ground zero in the Galwan Valley. These images have been taken near PP14, the site of the deadly clashes in the narrow, dangerous, icy Galwan Valley. The images have been released by China's CCTV. They show the Indian side in the process of constructing a bridge over the Galwan River days before the deadly clash on the 15th of June. It shows the Indian Army personnel carrying construction equipment to the icy stream. You can clearly see the rocky, inhospitable terrain that the Jawans had to negotiate. CCTV also claims that India built a helipad on the banks of the Galwan River. India has repeatedly maintained that all the construction has always been on the Indian side of the line of actual control. India also called Chinese claims on the Galwan Valley untenable. One thing is clear from the pictures. India was aware of the massive Chinese troop buildup on the other side of the line of actual control. The Indian Army was already making preparations in May to defend its positions along the Galwan Valley. This was before China pitched tents on the Indian side and obstructed the patrol routes of the Indian Army. The deadly clashes took place here. 20 Indian soldiers were killed in action. India claims 43 Chinese soldiers lost their lives. Beijing has accepted that it did suffer casualties but has not revealed a figure so far. In fact, American intelligence reports claim over 35 PLA troops were killed in the clashes. Now, after days of negotiations and multiple rounds of talks, both at the military and diplomatic level, the Chinese side has removed its stance from the forward locations and has moved back up to 1 to 2 kilometers from PP14, the clash site. The Indian Army says it will verify the Chinese pullback on the ground over the next few days. Indian forces will continue to maintain a level of alertness. These visuals were taken just last night at an Indian Air Force base in Ladakh. The Indian Air Force conducted night operations at its forward air base near the Chinese border. American and Russian-origined aircraft and helicopters took part in the night operations. One of the world's deadliest attack helicopters, the American-made Apache, was part of the operations carried out by the Indian Air Force. Apache pilots were seen flying with their night vision goggles that allow them to navigate the mountains and around the airbase at night time. The heavy lift Chinook helicopters were also pressed into action.
The night operations have an inherent element of surprise. The Indian Air Force is fully trained and ready to undertake entire spectrum of operations in any environment with the help of modern platforms and motivated personnel.
Russian-made MiG-29 fighter jets also carried out nighttime combat air patrols over the eastern Ladakh sector. Notwithstanding the strong winds and the chilling weather conditions, the ground crew and the pilots are flying using even very small windows when the speed is low. MiG-29 and the formidable Sukhoi MKI fighter jets have been at the forefront of the high-tempo operations after the hostilities broke out on the line of actual control. Around the same time, when the MiG-29s were taking off from the forward airbase, multiple air bases in the northern sector were activated from where fighter aircraft including the Mirage 2000, Su-30 MKI and Jaguars took off towards different locations along the line of actual control from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh. This was a massive night operation carried out by the Indian Air Force to keep the forces on their toes. Meanwhile, several border infrastructure projects have also been completed by India in Ladakh. The Border Roads Organization has completed the construction of 3 new strategic bridges near Leh. All 3 bridges have been constructed in a record time of 3 months. These bridges will allow the movement of tanks and heavy vehicles to the line of actual control with China. The first steel bridge has been constructed in Nimmu and can carry a load of 70 tons. The second bridge is in Basgo location near Nimmu, while the third has been built at a place called Ole Topo, which is further ahead on the Srinagar-Leh highway. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today held a review meeting with Border Roads Organisation officials. Rajnath Singh has directed that all border infrastructure to be fast-tracked and that the movement of the forces should not be affected.